Motorcycle chains. Most people seem to think they're this delicate thing. Don't use something too abrasive. Your chain is a piece of steel that's archaic. Cars used to have chains like over 100 years ago. They stopped doing it for a reason. Why do bikes still have them? Because they're efficient and cheap. And honestly, the chains are very strong. They can take a lot of abuse. Chain and sprockets tend to last me a very long time. And even if they sit up for a while, get all rusty and grimy, my method still seems to work just fine to reviving them. I mean, I can't bring back every chain from the dead, but I've had plenty of people bring me a bike with a nasty, rusty chain, say, it's got to be replaced, and I get them going, at least for a little while. And occasionally when I get a chain nice and clean, I like to post a picture of it in my Discord. Hey, how do you get them like that? What's your method? How do you clean a chain? And I've avoided doing it for a long time because one, I think there's a lot of videos on it, and two, because you probably can't do what I do. My method is not for everybody or anybody. I'm not telling you this is how to clean a chain. In fact, this is the wrong way to clean a chain, and you'll probably lose a finger if you do what I do. So this is how not to clean a motorcycle chain. Don't do what I do. It's wrong. Before we get into that, let's talk about what a stupid chain is. I tried to draw some things on the whiteboard here. I'm sorry. My drawings aren't great anyway. One sprocket in the front, one sprocket in the back. Little Sonic the Hedgehog spins, the big Sonic spins, and the chain goes around and around. As it comes around and makes contact with the sprocket, it's putting that power through this sprocket here, turning the rear wheel. I know this is very simple. Just follow me. There's a reason we're going into all this. So the chain has to spin and bend, has to go around things, has to hook onto a sprocket and follow that sprocket up. You got your, what they would call your inner link and your outer links. Have a collar through them and a pin that rolls in the center. Now these outer plates, they connect to them through some rivets, a bunch of them in a row, and you've got your rollers. It lets it bend. So the chain itself is a steel that can rust. So that's the first place that lubricants are useful to us. We want to keep this thing from rusting. Next place that we need lubricant is between the actual links themselves, where they can pivot on each other. They have to be able to move. Also, we have those rollers that we talked about before. Those rollers need lubricant under them too. So it's three sort of places that lubricant plays a role. Places that we don't want grime and dirt to get into. We want this to stay fairly clean. On an O-ring chain, between the links themselves where they need to bend, this is where you'll have some O-rings in here. They'll put grease down in those, sealed up in there. It's really cool. We don't need to worry about getting lubricants in there, but we also have to be careful with the O-rings when we clean this chain, because you can't just attack this with harsh chemicals or other things. In a non-O-ring chain, we don't have those in there. The disadvantages is we have to do a little more maintenance, a little more continuous oiling. However, there's a number of advantages. The entire chain is a little lighter. It definitely moves a lot faster. So this actually transfers power a lot better. Because of the lack of O-rings, you can really clean the hell out of a non-O-ring a lot more fun. It's a lot easier. And the rollers themselves, even on an O-ring chain, there is no O-ring in those. I think this is where people assume that their O-ring chain is all sealed up. It's like, well, kind of part of it is. For me, my goal is to get all the crap off of this thing when I'm cleaning it that I possibly can, and to get some lubricant on there that will get up inside of the chain. One other thing I do want to talk about before we actually show you the process of what I do is I want to talk to you about chain stretch. I made a video about this years ago and took a lot of flack from people that said I didn't know what I was talking about, because I said chains they don't actually stretch. And people said, what do you talk about? I can take a used chain, a new chain, hold them up and literally measure the difference. If the chain actually became longer, as in this metal between these links, these inner and outer plates, expanded and pulled from load over time, that it wouldn't mesh up with the sprocket. What actually happens is you get play in it over time. Between these rollers, these bushings on here, all these little linkages, as they bend around and roll each other, little by little bits of material deteriorate. They're lost, especially if you're not doing good maintenance on it. It happens much faster. That chain's just dirty and dry down there, and it's getting hot as hell while you ride, and you're losing more material. And so what really is happening is it's all that slack in there. Take a new chain, I mean, there's just nothing in here. But you take an old chain and you can kind of pull this apart. Yes, if you actually hold them up, you'll see the chain's longer, but it's not like we've stretched the metal. We've just worn these pivot points down. That's what's happening. The other thing you got to think about is on your rear sprocket. When the chain is good, as soon as this chain gets in contact with the sprocket, it's loading pretty much the whole thing. But as the chain gets more slop and wear in it, instead of half the sprocket being engaged, it ends up being closer and closer up here to where it's finally just this little pit up here at the top. And that's why chains and sprockets can look good for a long time, but then when they start to wear, they seem to accelerate really fast, and you're moving the tire back more and more and more. When they start to go, it's like a nosedive. And eventually you start shearing teeth off this back sprocket. And this is also why you always want to replace these as a set. Anyways, I don't know how much of y'all needed a chain lesson, how a chain works. So here's the chain on my Sherco just before cleaning it. A bit grimy. It definitely got put away wet at some point. I know I was even able to see a few small orange spots on there, light rust. If nothing else, sometimes if you're in a hurry and you got to put something away wet, at least just spray it down with some lubricant, even if it's a bit too much. At least that's protecting it. And then when you get time, you can clean it. A lot of times when I go to clean a chain, the bike probably needs a good cleaning too. I combine the two together. You don't have to, but hey, why not? So the first thing I like to do is roll the bike out into the driveway. Getting the wheels in the air is a huge deal. And this is something if you don't have and you want to do some chain maintenance, some way of lifting the wheel, or at least the rear wheel off the ground is going to be huge for you. What I'm going to show you in this video is just not going to work if you're going to have the bike on the ground. Clean a bit of the chain, roll the bike, clean a bit of the chain, roll the bike. I'm sorry, like, I mean, I guess you could, but it's going to be awful. I don't care if it's a milk crate, sack of sand, whatever it takes. Get your bike up in the air. Now, the thing about my method is it might get a little messy back there. And one of the things I really like to do is go and just pull the rear brake pads. I know that sounds crazy, but most bikes, the rear brake pads come out really easy. You don't have to remove the wheel. You might have to get an Allen key and remove a pin. And some bikes like the Sherco doesn't even require any real tools. A couple of Carter pins and slide this thing out. We want the pads away. It's not unusual for this to get some cross contamination, and a little bit of lubricant or WD-40 or something gets on the rotor, that can be cleaned right off with some good brake cleaner. But the brake pads, they get contaminated. They're like porous, whatever they are. They're like stones. So I just take them out. And now comes y'all's favorite part. You guys know me. I'm gonna spray this chain down with WD-40. Yeehaw. I love WD-40. Look, I buy it by the gallon. You don't have to use their special WD-40 spray bottle. I've used just normal spray bottles. You can go get the cheapest whatever spray bottle they have up at the store. It'll work, which is also a good testament to tell you that WD-40 is not going to hurt the plastics and rubbers. A lot of people have done experiments with this. Project Farm has played around with this. It's fine. You can almost think of WD-40. It's like it kind of acts like a solvent without acting like a solvent. If you compare it to something like, let's say, brake cleaner or something, let's say we had a bunch of grime on that chain. If we blast it down with brake cleaner, one, it's harsh on any of the paints, powder coat, anything else it gets on that we don't want, and it's also harsh on the O-rings themselves. Also with brake cleaner, it dries quickly. Well, if we blast the whole thing down, by the time I get around to actually scrubbing it and working it, it's dry. The WD-40 will just stay wet on there until it's like wiped off or removed, and that gives it time to attack and loosen, soften all the grime. So like I said, I spray the whole thing down. I get it very, very wet with WD-40. And I spray down other places that I think might be a little grimy too. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll be fine. And I let that sit while I wash the bike. This is not going to be a video on washing bikes because I don't think I'm very good at it. I do my best, but I tend to scrub the thing down as best I can. I try to go top to bottom, get all the dirty spots off. And I do what a lot of people say you shouldn't do is I use a power washer. Does anyone remember M13, like the OG moto vlogger? That dude would, I swear he made multiple videos about how you shouldn't wash your bike with a power washer. And like I said, kind of like in the beginning of this video, I was like, maybe you shouldn't wash your bike with a power washer, but I wash my bike with a power washer. And my method for using a power washer is that I like to use electric power washer that's not very high pressure. There's actually a new one I just got. My old one crapped out after like 10 plus years of abusing it. But I picked this one up off Amazon. Honestly, it seems perfectly fine. It was a good price, had a good warranty. I like it. One thing though it didn't come with, and actually almost no power washers seem to come with this anymore, is it didn't have 25-degree nozzle. I had one for my old power washer, and I think that's the move. These electric 110 power washers like this don't have volume and PSI that could be dangerous, especially when combined with a 25-degree nozzle. You're pretty safe. Still, you got to use your better judgment. Again, I don't want to make this video about power washing a bike, but this is going to kind of come in later. You'll see with a 25-degree on there, I can stick my hand a little bit away from it and touch it. I mean, you should never do that. You would lose your fingers. You can't do that. I can. Don't do that though. There's things I do that you can't. Anyways, once you've power washed the bike down, the whole time I've been doing this chain's been sitting with WD-40 on it. And now you know what you need to do? We put more WD-40 on it because I don't give a fuck. Yeah, spray it down. What? Oh, is it too much WD-40? And yeah, by the way, when I was washing my bike, it was raining outside. I don't care. I'm going to get dirty anyway, and I'm not trying to get like some Provision spot-free finish on it. Now get you a nice little chair and sit down because we're going to get to work on this thing. We need to loosen up all the crap on the chain, and the easiest way to do that is a brush. This is where you have some difference between an O-ring and a non-O-ring chain. If this was a non-O-ring chain, I'd go straight to some kind of brass brushes, and I'd beat the hell out of it while I spin the tire. But this is an O-ring chain, so we're going to go with a nice nylon brush. Find the master link is always a good place to start because you can see where that is, and begin scrubbing and turning, scrubbing and turning. You're going to go from one end of the chain to the other. Nothing's going to come off while you're doing this, right? It's just we're breaking everything loose. We're getting it all loose on there. Once we do the outside, I'm going to switch to the inside. Same thing, go around and around and around. Add some more WD-40 for good measure, because that's not going to hurt anything. Then we can work on the outside. The inside's usually the trickiest part to get to. One thing I want to point out to you, by the way, is the whole time I've been doing this, I've been working on the top part of the sprocket. This is where this chain and sprocket separate from each other. The other part, they're coming together. That's ouchie pinchy no-no zone where my fingers come off. I'm also not playing anything up front on the front sprocket. Let's say your chain is really grimy, or you just really want to clean it up, especially on that outside, as you can see. Well, there's another trick I like to do, and that's to use a drill and a brass brush. Why would we do this? Well, because we're on the outside, not where the O-rings are. Now, if your chain is a powder-coated chain or a anodized chain, this technique with the wire wheel on the outside, obviously we can't do that. Just scrub it down with that nylon. It should be fine. I like to spin it up. I'm very careful and start working this chain around and around, cleaning the outside links. Now, if this was a non-O-ring chain, I would have no issue applying the same method directly into the center of the chain. And I've done that on plenty of ones, especially if they're really grimy. And now, more WD-40. Let's make sure everything's staying nice and loose. And if we've done it right, everything's pretty suspended at this point. How do we get it off? Well, you're not gonna like this, but we power wash it. I know you've always been told, don't power wash a chain. You're gonna get the water shot down between the O-rings and into the grease. I mean, maybe you would. The same reason we talked about before with my 25-degree, holding the wand back a bit. I don't worry about it, and I work all that crap off. And it's so effective that you usually need to power wash your driveway off when you're done. You should see just about everything fall off of this thing. If it's a non-O-ring chain, it is one of the few times where I actually will take that wand and just stick it right in there. In fact, if there's any bits of sand and crap in there, I think this is a great way to remove them. But this will take a little bit of while, go round and around. And it's also a good time while you're at to clean this rear wheel off and even the rear rotor a bit. We're going to do a little bit more on that later. But let's get all that crap off there as much as we can. At this point, the chain is like as clean as it can be. You should be able to go up to it and just run your fingers on it, not get any grease to come off. If you're getting grease to come off, spray some more WD-40, let it sit, hit it again. This is a good place to be, except now the chain is full of water. If we just let it sit, it will rust. There's not any lubricant between the rollers. I rolled the Sherco back into my garage and got it back jacked up just because now I do want to get out of the rain. If it wasn't raining, I wouldn't bother doing this in the garage, but why not? And you also notice I put some cardboard down because not only is this chain going to drip, but we're going to kind of overdouche it with oil now. Like I said, there's a bunch of water in those rollers and we need to get it out. I know you're thinking WD-40, right? And it would work well. I mean, the WD part is water displacement. We could hammer this thing down with it and it would get up into all the spots. WD-40 is not a super great chain lubricator. And this is where we're going to get into the part of this that people are very opinionated about. People love their different chain oils. I think anything that's greasy or really, really tacky is just going to hold dirt and sand to it, which is kind of the last things we want. That's just abrasive. I know some people say, well, I only do street riding. That's fine. I think the street's pretty darn dirty too. It's pretty dusty. I don't even like that waxy crap that comes on new chains. You know, that stuff that's like super thick and nasty on there. I literally clean that off before I put them on there. I will put the chain out on the floor, bunch of cardboard, just blast down WD-40, let it sit for a minute, and then I will wipe all that crap off because that's how much I hate that stuff. It just attracts all the nastiest stuff in the world to it. The thing that I've started using over the years that I really, really like is this Lucas chain oil. Now, they're no sponsor or anything, although I'm happy to take their money if they want to send it to me, but this stuff is pretty cool. It's fairly thin and it's slightly tacky. It'll stay on the chain, but it's not thick and waxy like. And here's the coolest part. It foams. That's going to get up under those rollers. My method, I like to sort of over oil it right now because I really want to make sure I'm displacing that water that's all up in the chain. And this is why we parked it on the cardboard. Now that we've got the chain nice and lubricated, over lubricated, we can also clean off the wheel. There's probably a little bit that's slung on there through all this. That's not uncommon. I like to spray it down with brake clear. Oh no, brake clear on the rubber. I'm not letting it sit overnight. I'm gonna spray it down and wipe it off. And this really does a great job. You can feel how dumb clean the wheel is when you do this. How it feels on your hand is crazy. How grippy it'll feel when you get done with this. The other thing I like to do is to clean the rotor inside and outside. Just spin that thing, spray down your cloth with some brake cleaner and run it on there and keep doing this until the cloth comes up clean. Now from here, you can go to bed. I like to let the chain sit all night with the cardboard under it. If you can't do that, then you can skip ahead to the next part, but just know it's going to take a little more time. You're going to have to wipe this thing down a lot more. I come back the next day. I like to think that lubricants have penetrated into places and done their things, and any remaining water is sort of dried off. I actually like to put a fan against. I had a fan blowing against my bike all night. So now we need to remove some of this excess lubricant we've put on here. And the best way to do that is just take some rags and wipe it down. start spinning that wheel and working it inside, outside. I do it where the chain doesn't take your fingers off. And as you do this too, you're gonna notice extra grime and oils dripping at just a few different places. The top chain guide, I tend to see grease run down from that. We're gonna wipe this down and do this a handful of times, just running it and wiping it down. Once I've wiped everything down, it should be to a point where the chain isn't all greasy. Touch it, it doesn't feel tacky or anything weird like that. But if I do run my finger across it, I should be able to pull up a little nice film of oil on there. It still might sling a little the first time I ride. So what I like to do is start the bike up and go for a slow ride around the block. If there is any extra bit of sling, and there's usually a tiny bit, it should come off. Before I go on the ride though, throw the brake pads back on, pump that thing up and make sure it's working. And sometimes I've found, even though we've got it really clean, for some reason when the pads have come off and gone back on and we've wiped everything down with brake cleaner, sometimes it takes a couple hits when you're first going. Works, but not good, and then it kind of gets better after a second. I think it's something with the brake cleaner itself. Maybe it leaves some kind of weird film on things that burns off after a second or two. After you take it for a quick spin, sometimes, like I said, you'll find a little bit of sling that still happened. It might have thrown a little bit up on the plastic somewhere. Cool thing is with this Lucas stuff, it's not tacky. It's not gross. It's not sitting there and scrubbing it and trying to... If you do have something, by the way, it's tacky and sticky all up on the bottom side there, WD-40. I know it sounds crazy. A little spray, wipe it right off. You know another cool trick with WD-40? Have you ever ridden down a road that just got blacktopped? You know, they just like open them right away and you get the tar all in your wheel wells or up under your motorcycle, and you go, oh my god, this one, and you're trying to wash it, it'll never come off. Spray with WD-40, wait a minute, it's like it dissolves, it comes right. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Anyways, at this point you're good to go. There is one other way I didn't show you on the Sherco that I actually do tend to do, which is this chain. Though it's been around the block now, it's been ridden and it hasn't slung a bunch of stuff. It's all pretty good on here. The chain itself doesn't feel all tacky, but if I touch it, yeah, you can just see a little bit of black on my fingers. It's not much. It's light, and I think that's where you want to be. I find that chains on my bikes using this method, and the sprockets for that matter, last a lot longer than my friends' chains and sprockets. Even people I know that do a lot of maintenance on their bikes. Anyways, if you want to get in my Discord and tell me what silly maintenance thing I should show next that I don't like showing. What's one of the other things? Oh, should I show how I resurface brakes? I don't know. I don't know if the internet can handle that. If you're in the Discord, you feel like convincing me, maybe get in there. By the way, my Discord, to get into that, you got to get into my Patreon or my YouTube members. This channel is fully fan supported, and that's what makes this all possible. Discord is a really fun community in there too, by the way. We jump in there almost every night in the voice chats and BS with each other and play stupid video games, and we be mean to each other, because that's what you do when you get to know people, right? Real friends shit on each other. No, really, it's fun. Get in there and just have like crazy energy. That's how you you don't have to. I'm scaring people away. They're like, I'm never going to join this. Sounds awful. No, it's super fun. Let me know if you want to see that brake video. I'll see y'all next time.